What do you call that shaking in your legs? You call it weakness. You have called it that. So long the word shows up before the feeling does. The knee goes loose. The breath climbs high in your chest. Something under your ribs drops half an inch. And the verdict is already written before you have even looked at where you are standing. Look at where you are standing. As I speak, I am giving that tremble a different name. You are not on flat ground. You have not been on flat ground for a long time. Nothing shakes on flat ground. Nothing has to. Flat ground lets the legs go quiet because flat ground asks nothing of them. The trembling started when the path tilted up. That is what has been happening in your body. Not collapse. Height. Your legs doing the exact work legs do on a slope, gripping, correcting, finding one small stable place under the ball of the foot, then reaching for the next one. You called it falling apart. It was climbing. I know what you would say back to me. You would not even wait for me to finish. You would say, "You do not understand. I am not climbing anything. I am barely getting through." You would say it fast, in that flat voice you use when you are too tired to argue properly. Then you would go quiet, because some part of you would be waiting to see whether I argued back. I am not going to argue. I heard the thing underneath it. Underneath it was this: I do not trust my own feet anymore. That is the real sentence. The one you have never said out loud, not in those words, not to anyone, maybe not even inside your own chest where it could be heard. You stopped trusting the ground, then you stopped trusting the feet that meet it. So every step cost you twice now. Once to take it, once to brace against it going wrong. Let your shoulders come down 1/4 of an inch. Not all the way, just that much. That is enough for now. Hear what I am actually telling you. Level ground was never the promise. Think of every person I have carried through a hard country. I did not flatten one mountain for any of them. What I gave them was feet. Feet made for that exact angle. Feet that hold where holding should not be possible. There is an animal that spends its whole life on the side of a cliff. It does not think about the drop. It was not handed a wider path than anything else got. It was given a different foot, narrow, split, gripping, built for a ledge no wider than your hand. And it goes up, not carefully, not trembling. It goes up like the height belongs to it, because it does. Something in you has been waiting years for the road to level out before you were allowed to feel safe. The road has not leveled out, so you decided the fault was in you. The fault was never the angle of the ground. Stay here with me a moment before we go any higher. Do not rush past this part. You have been reading your own body wrong for a long time, and the reading has cost you more than you know. The confidence gone out of your voice, the second guess before you move, the way you test the footing 3 times where you used to just walk. I'm here to correct the reading. Gently, slowly. Line by line, if that is what it takes. The shaking is not the sound of a body giving out. It is the sound of a body holding a slope. You have been holding it far longer than most could, without applause, without a hand on your back, without anyone once saying that what you are doing is hard. I am saying it. What you are doing is hard. And I am saying this too, and I want it to land somewhere deeper than the tiredness. You are not standing up there by accident. You were not sent up there without what the height requires. Let me ask you the harder question. Let it sit a second before you answer it. When did you stop trusting your own step? You would not have a date for me. Nobody ever does. It was not one fall, and that is exactly what makes it so hard to argue with. There was no single afternoon you could point at. No clean moment where the trust went out of your legs and you could say, there, that is where it happened. That is the thing I need to recover from. It came in small ones. A promise that did not hold. You had finally leaned your weight on it. A door that looked solid right up until you put your hand on it. A plan you built carefully, with everything you had, that went out from under you anyway while you were still explaining it to people. None of those were dramatic. That is why they work so quietly. Now look at how you move. You read the same message 4 times before you answer it. You rehearse an ordinary sentence in your head. Only then do you let it out of your mouth. You take the long way around a conversation because the short way gave out under you once and you have not forgotten the sound it made. You stand at the bottom of your own stairs at the end of a heavy day. Something in you measures the climb. Your foot has not even lifted yet. That is not laziness. It is not a lack of faith either. Whatever voice in you keeps filing it under that word is lying to you. That is what a body does after it has fallen. There is no scolding coming. Hear me clearly on that. You have been braced for it through this whole message, the way you brace for it everywhere else. No lecture, no list of the ways you should have handled it better. You handled it. You are still standing on the slope. Those are the only 2 facts I need. But here where the caution has left you, because this part matters more than the falls did. You have started treating every rise in the ground as a threat. Anything that goes up could drop you. A good thing arrives, and you weigh it for how much it would hurt to lose. An opening appears, and you check twice for the trapdoor. You have made yourself so careful that you stopped going anywhere at all. You called that wisdom. Some of it was. Some of it truly was. The rest is a life lived on the valley floor. The valley floor cannot betray you. It is level down there. It is also very small. Nothing drops. Nothing rises either. You know that ceiling by heart now. You have measured it 100 times without meaning to. It is not the ceiling of your life. It is the height of your own caution, and you have been living underneath it as if it were the sky. More than safety is what I want for you. There is a reason the ground keeps rising under you. Not to test whether you slip. Not to see how much you can take before something in you gives. You were never measured that way. You are not being measured that way now. The ground rises because of where I am taking you. No high place is reached on level ground. That is not a punishment. That is the shape of altitude. Every step that goes up will feel in your legs exactly like the steps that once went wrong. The same burn, the same tightness, the same unsteady moment where the foot searches for something to hold. Your body cannot tell a fall from a climb. Both of them shake. I can tell, and I am telling you which one this is. This is a climb. Breathe once, slowly, before the next line. Let the air go further down than you usually allow. The tiredness in your legs is not evidence against you. It is the receipt of height already gained. You have gained more than you counted. You were busy counting the falls and calling all that climbing nothing. So let me ask you something else. Do you know what a high place actually is? You would answer fast. You would say it is the top, the summit, the place where the climbing finally stops and somebody hands you the thing you have been bleeding for, a reward at the end of a long uphill. That answer has been quietly wearing you out for years. Because if the high place is only the top, then every day you are not at the top is a day you are failing. Every slope is a debt. Every rest is a delay. And you cannot enjoy one single step of the way up, because the way up only counts if it ends. A high place is not a finish line. A high place is where something lives. Think about that animal on the cliff again. The ledge is not its trophy. The ledge is its home. It sleeps there. It eats there. It raises what it loves there on a shelf of rock that would empty your stomach just to look at. It is not visiting the height. It belongs to the height. The animals that hunt it cannot follow it up there. That is the whole point of the ledge, not the view, the safety. There is a place high enough that the thing chasing you simply cannot climb. That is where I have been taking you. Not to the top of your problems, where you finally get to rest because everything has been solved. To a place above them, where you can live, while some of them are still unsolved. Those are 2 different rescues. and you have been praying for the wrong one, and I have not held that against you for a second. Close your eyes for one slow breath. Just one. Let the picture of that ledge stay where it is while you do. Now hear the part you have been missing. The ledge does not make the animal steady. The foot does. You could put anything on that shelf of rock. Most of what you put there would fall. The height does not hand out balance to whatever arrives. The height only reveals what a foot was built to do, and that particular foot was built for exactly that stone. I made your feet for this height, not for the height somebody else is walking. Not for the flat, easy years you keep comparing this season to. For this one. The one with the loose gravel and the wind coming sideways and the thin place where the path narrows and your whole body says, turn back. You have been asking me to lower the mountain. I have been changing what your feet can hold. That is why the prayer felt unanswered. You asked for the ground to change, and it did not change, and you decided I had gone quiet on you. I was never quiet. I was working on the part of you that no one can see from the outside, the part that grips, the part that finds the small, stable place under the ball of the foot without you telling it how. Look at what you have done lately. Not the failures, the ordinary things. You got up. You went back. You said a kind word inside a situation that gave you no reason to be kind. You kept a promise nobody was checking on. You stood in a room where standing cost you something and nobody in that room had any idea what it cost, and you stood there anyway. That was not nothing. That was footing. Each of those was a hoof set down on a ledge no wider than a hand. It held. It held because I made it hold. You are steadier than you have any evidence for. That is the strange truth of it. Your evidence is all old. The falls, the doors, the plans that went out from under you. Your feet have changed since then. You just have not tested them on anything but memory. There is a word for this. An old one. Written down by a man with nothing left to stand on, in the worst season of his life, and I want you to hear it exactly as he wrote it. The man who wrote it was called Habakkuk. He was not standing in a good season when the words came. The fig tree had no blossom on it, there was no fruit on the vine. The stall where an animal should have been was standing empty, and the field had given back nothing at all for the work put into it. Everything he could count had come to zero. That is the ground this sentence was written on, not on a good outcome, on a loss. And out of that, Habakkuk chapter 3 verse 19 says this, God, the Lord, is my strength. He makes my feet like the deer's. He makes me tread on my high places. Sit inside that sentence with me. It is doing three things, and every one of them is for you. God, the Lord, is my strength. Notice what it does not say. It does not say He gives me strength, like a package handed over at the door, something you receive once and then have to make last. He is the strength. It is not a supply that runs out while you are still halfway up. It is a presence that does not leave the slope you are on. He makes my feet like the deer's. Hear what that costs to admit. It means the feet were not already like that. It means the man writing this had ordinary legs and a real fear of falling, exactly like yours, and something was done to him that he could not do to himself. Not a better path, not a shorter climb, new footing in the same body on the same mountain. He makes me tread on my high places. Read that possessive slowly. My high places, not somebody else's, not the ones you keep looking at with that ache in your chest, wondering why your life did not turn out shaped like theirs. Yours, already assigned, already named as yours before you ever saw them. Nothing in that verse promises the fig tree comes back by any particular season. That is what makes it hold. He is not saying the trouble ended. He is saying the man walked high and steady, while the trouble was still exactly as empty as it had been the moment before. That is what I am offering you. Not the removal of the climb, the transformation of the foot. And notice the verb, tread. Not crawl, not cling, not survive it barely with your fingernails in the rock. Tread is what you do on ground that belongs to you. It is an ordinary, confident word. It is the word for walking across your own floor in the dark, without checking, because your body knows the room. You have been treating your whole life like unfamiliar rock. I am handing you back the word tread. Here is where it lands in your actual life. The thing you have been avoiding because you are sure your legs will not hold. You are measuring it with old feet. The conversation you keep rehearsing and never having. The step back towards something you walked away from when it hurt too much to stay near. The small ordinary act of hope that feels far too expensive right now. You are not the same walker who fell. That is not a compliment. That is a fact about what I have been doing in you while you were busy calling it a dry season. Habakkuk had no proof either. The stall was still empty when he wrote that line. He did not write it because things had turned around. He wrote it because he had seen who was holding him, and after that the emptiness of the stall stopped being the final word about his life. Your shoulders climbed back up while you were listening. Let them fall again. The verse is not asking you to feel strong. It never once mentions your feelings. It says, God is the strength, the feet are made, the high places are yours. 3 facts, none of them waiting on your mood to be true. Now do something with it. A verse you only admire stays outside of you. There are 3 small steps here, and not one of them happens on a screen or in front of anybody. They happen in your body, in your voice, in the ordinary places where your real life gets lived. The first one is the hardest, and it is quiet. Believe it before you feel it. Your feelings are honest reporters of your tiredness. They are terrible reporters of your footing. They tell you what the last fall was like. They cannot tell you what your legs can do now, because they have not been consulted about the work I have been doing in you. So let belief go first, and let feeling catch up whenever it catches up. That is not pretending. Pretending is telling yourself the slope is not steep. This is different. The slope is steep. Your feet were made for a steep slope. The second step uses your voice. Say it out loud, just once where only you can hear it. My feet were made for this height. Say it in your own voice, in the room you are actually in. Something in you will resist that. It will feel foolish and it will feel like lying. Say it anyway. Not because the words are magic, because your ears have been fed a different sentence for years, in your own voice at full volume every time your foot slipped. That sentence went in deep, and it went in the same way, spoken by you, heard by you. You have been preaching a small life to yourself out loud. It is fair for the truth to get the same microphone. The third step is slower. Put the sentence somewhere your eyes land without looking for it. Not a grand plan, a scrap of paper, the back of an old envelope, wherever your eyes go first when the day is already going wrong. Because the moment you actually need this, you will not remember one word of it. And that is not a moral failure. That is what fear does to a memory. Fear makes you forget your own feet. So write it down before the fear arrives. Let the paper hold what your mind will drop. And keep the sentence short. You are not writing a speech. You are leaving one line where it can catch you. 3 steps. Believe, speak, write. Nothing you have to buy, nowhere you have to go. Nothing that depends on other people cooperating with you. I ask for so little because so little is required. You keep waiting to be handed a whole new life before you will move. What is actually needed is one held step, then another, on the ground you are standing on right now. Notice how the animal on the cliff actually moves. It does not survey the whole face of the mountain. It cannot see the top from where it is, and it does not need to. It sees the next ledge. It sets one foot. It shifts its weight. It goes. That is all that is ever asked of you. You have exhausted yourself trying to see the whole mountain from a place where the whole mountain was never visible. No wonder you are tired. You have been climbing in your imagination all the way to a summit you were never asked to reach in one motion. Set one foot. Shift your weight. Let the ledge hold what it was made to hold. And when it holds, and it will hold, do not explain it away. Do not call it luck or a good day or the one time things happen to go right. Call it what it is. That is a foot doing what I made it able to do. Notice these things. Say them out loud. Keep them where your eyes can find them. Something is different in you already, and it has almost nothing to do with your circumstances. The stairs at the end of a heavy day are still there. The conversation you have been walking the long way around is still waiting. The plan that fell out from under you did not reassemble itself while you listened to me speak. Nothing outside of you has moved an inch. But look at the ground under your attention. It shifted. You came into this braced. That is how you come into everything now. Half expecting to be told what you have been doing wrong. Half waiting for the tone to turn. That is the posture of someone who believes the height is a test. They are failing. And it is the most tiring way a person can live, because it means every slope has to be defended against instead of simply walked. You are not being tested up there. You are being brought up there. Feel the same climb again. It sits differently in the body now. The one on the mountain with you is not grading you. That is the high place, not a view. A relationship with the ground. I made your feet for this height. The animal on the cliff has one thing you have been missing. Not courage, not talent. It has never once questioned whether the ledge is meant for it. It does not stand there arguing with its own hooves. It has no theory about whether it deserves the rock. It simply goes where it was made to go, and the going looks like confidence. But it is really just agreement. Agree with your own feet. That is what changes, and it changes long before your situation does. You stop negotiating with every step. You stop asking whether you are allowed to be somewhere I have already put you. Here is what that will look like in a life like yours, in a week that will probably look a lot like the ones before it. You will still read the message more than once. But somewhere in the third reading, you will notice the bracing. You will let the shoulders come down. And you will answer as the person you actually are, not as the person the fear keeps auditioning for. You will still stand at the bottom of your stairs. Your legs will still be heavy. Of course they will be. The day was long and you gave it everything. But something in you will stop weighing the climb like a verdict on your strength. You will just go up, like someone walking across a room they know. You will take the shorter way through a conversation once, and it will hold, and you will feel the whole ground of your life move under that one small held step. None of that is dramatic. That is exactly why you can trust it. The false version of this arrives loud. It tells you to feel unstoppable, to stop being afraid, to climb something enormous to prove that the fear is finished. That has never been my way with you. I do not hand out invincibility. I hand out footing, one ledge at a time, in the exact places where you are actually standing. Fear may still show up. Let it. A steady foot does not require a quiet mind. The animal on that ledge is fully aware of the drop, and it walks anyway, because what holds it is not its opinion of the height. What holds you is not your opinion of the height either. So stop waiting to feel ready. Ready is not a feeling you will be given. Ready is what a made foot already is, standing in a body that has not yet believed the news about itself. You have the feet. You are standing on the ledge. And the rock under you is not deciding whether to hold. That was settled a long time before you got here, by me, on purpose, for you. One more time then. The same question this message opened with, that shaking in your legs, what do you call it now? Take a second this time. Do not answer with the old word. The old word came fast because it had been rehearsed for years. Speed is not truth. You would say it slower now. You would say, climbing. and your voice would not be sure of itself. It would come out small, more like a question than a statement. That is how anyone sounds saying something they want to be true and have not tested yet. Say it unsure. Unsure is enough. Your certainty was never the thing holding your foot. Let the shoulders come down one more time. They have climbed again. They always do, and I am not counting. Stay here a moment before you go back into your life. Feel the ground under you. Not the ground you are afraid of. The actual floor right now, holding the actual weight of an actual body. That is what it has been doing this whole time, while your mind was busy up on the ridge somewhere, rehearsing a fall that has not happened. You are steady in more places than you have noticed. Count one of them. Just one. Some ordinary thing you did not fall out of, though it gave you every reason to. You have 100 of those. Not one of them made it into your record. Your record keeps only the slips. I keep the other list, and it is longer than yours, and every line on it is true. The wind up there does not stop for anyone. It did not stop for the man with the empty stall, and it will not stop for you. And I have never pretended otherwise. What I said is that the feet were made. What I said is that the high places already have your name written on them. The drop is real. The footing is realer. And when your legs shake, hear the two things at once. Yes, the ground is steep. And yes, something in you is holding. Both of those are mine. You will forget this. That is not a warning, and there's no failure in it. You will be somewhere ordinary. The day will turn hard the way days do, and every word here will go straight out of you. The forgetting does not undo the feet. The feet are still made when you forget. You do not have to keep believing continuously for the ledge to keep holding. The rock is not powered by your attention. It was set there before you arrived, and it will be there in every hour you are not thinking about it at all. So walk back into your ordinary life. It is the mountain. Take the stairs. Answer the message. Walk the shorter way through the conversation you have been circling. And when your foot finds the small, stable place, and it will, let yourself notice it for once instead of hurrying past it toward the next worry. That is me. That has been me the whole way up. You are not slipping. You are being brought higher than the thing you were running from can climb. Rest in that. Not when the mountain flattens, not when the stall fills. Now, at this exact altitude, with the wind still moving and the drop still there and your feet still made, let the breath come slow. Let the legs be tired. Let the height be yours, because it is. Amen.